Well, I know a lot of people out there probably like headsets. I'm a big fan of them as well. Not only
Gamer
PC,
gear,
those ones,
baby.
but right now we actually have a little special code you can use to get 20% off. I believe site-wide, some exceptions that come through, but if you use Paladins 20 there at SteelSeries, you can get yourself some good headsets, get any kind of gear that you kind of want to on the website. And so
Oh, yeah.
absolutely recommend it.
Once upon a time, I bought the Diablo 3 Siberia V2 from SteelSeries right as I was going into college, and the amount of punishment that headset took and survived is legendary. I mean, there's not a single piece of gear I have put through the ringer than my SteelSeries headset and have it survive. I mean, I'm talking the USB like connector thing that connected to the extension cord to go on my that thing got crushed by like my chair because it was like sitting on the floor. And I don't know, man. I don't know how that thing survived as long as it did, but they make quality stuff out there.
And that was without even 20% off. So you can get yourself 20% off. Another team that's 20% off right now technically is Penta, considering they're missing 1/5 of their players.
I like it.
But that's who we're going to talk about in just a second. First, we can look at Nemesis, the last console team standing right now.
That was nice.
The question is whether or not they can make it. Also, 2 subs on this team coming in for Nemesis right now. And for anyone who might not know, this was previously heating up, and they're bringing in, I can't remember if it's Destronite and Coolmat. I know Coolmat is definitely.
I think so, yeah.
And so it's 2 members that have played a lot in the console league this split.
That's how it goes, man.
Not as much.
That's how it goes. These guys flip-flop teams. Seems like by the day, by the week. Coolmat has been around the block before, has been successful, has played on this stage as well as the HRX stage. So he's no stranger to competition. And that's one of the things I think that has benefited console. When it comes down to it, these guys do flip-flop teams, scenes a lot. But because of that, there's always somebody to call when you need a substitute player. There's always somebody you can reliably call. And longtime player here, Jeff the Raccoon, a.k.a. Miracle, long-standing support player for the console scene. A guy that you are certainly familiar with if you follow along with the PCL at all.
I mean, he's done tons in the past. Like a very, very decorated veteran of the scene, a very decorated support when it comes down to it.
That's a hell of a KDA for a support, too. 5.9. Oof.
Keeping it fresh. I mean, he puts himself on the front lines, I think, more than I see some other supports. Like he's willing to put himself out there to frag out.
Yeah, I mean that was such a big factor last set as well. I mean, not to drag him through the mud anymore, but I thought T-Mac's performance in that final game 5 there, hitting all those time and spaces, those huge streaks, and the amount of damage he put out, he really left it all out there on the field. And so that just goes to show you the supports can and absolutely should be looking to win games today. T-Mac certainly won game 5 for his squad.
And I think that's the biggest thing, especially when you're looking at it. Like even if you have 2 subs that you've either played with or you've seen play in the league, like I know Destronite I've seen either with this team or other teams. Again, they flip-flop all the time. Coolmat's played on like 6 different teams this split. So like you have all of that going for you. It's even more important, I think, for Miracle to be able to kind of hold up, step up, and be the support that we saw kind of out of T-Mac during that last game. And in fact, we have none other than Jeff the Raccoon Miracle himself standing by with Evan. So let's go see how he's feeling before this game starts.
All right, I'm here with Jeff the Raccoon, the artist formerly known as Miracle. How are you feeling today, man? I know it's been 3 defeats for console thus far, but it's not really been about that. It's been 3 really contested games, getting more and more heavily contested, and that last one ending in a best of 5. What are your expectations for your set against arguably one of the best teams here today?
Well, Penta's a really good team. We've heard lots of great things about them, done a little research on them, and seen they really do deserve the recognition they've gotten. Hope to just play our best game and see what happens.
How much of this kind of dynamic is everyone feeling new to it, everyone getting adjusted to the different level? When you're looking at these games, we cast all the leagues. Looks like just a competitive set between any team in any league, anywhere. Do you feel like it's just about getting used to it? Is it a mental aspect that is sometimes maybe throwing you guys, or do you feel like you're ready to jump in? They're just another squad.
It's definitely different. Definitely different metas because of the controller input. But I guess we'll have to see. We've practiced against PC teams. We know it's coming, and we're just going to do our best.
My last question is the Victor, the Vivian. These seem to have been huge impacts. Not so much the Talus that we saw earlier experimented with, but how do you feel those 2 champions are either valued or undervalued between the PC teams?
I feel like they might be undervalued a little bit by the PC teams because they can put out a lot of sustained damage, and you know what you're going to get for those characters. It's not like a Cassie where if you miss, you're potentially throwing a kill. Victor, you're going to hit almost all your shots. So maybe PC will learn from us. We'll see.
Well, it seems like there's been a lot of learning, a lot of threats from both sides of the board here. I wish you good luck, man. It's going to be a really exciting game, and we'll send it back to you guys on the desk. Get ready to talk to Penta.
And they sound plenty, I want to say ready overall, maybe a couple of nerves coming forward. This is probably one of the biggest matchups to have to overcome if you're Nemesis here. Not only, again, coming in with 2 subs, but Penta is decorated. There's a ton of reasons that they were number 1. They went 11-1. They only lost 1 set. They had a 25 plus minus. But you can't talk Penta without talking one guy, and that's Simsalou. And it's just every single time, like, I guess a year and a half ago at this point, he was actually winning a LAN with Virtus Pro for the PPL.
Yeah.
Kind of, unfortunately disappeared from the scene for a little bit and kind of forced away. But now he's coming through, and he's done a ton.
Hell of a player, hell of a storyline to follow along with Mr. Simsalou. In and out of the PPL, in and out of successful moments. Oh my God, I need to break out the telestrator here to band down to break down this play for you guys.
Show the circle zone again.
Yeah. I need my circle tool here, boys, because it looks like we had a couple of people on Blazing Stars break the golden rule of gaming, and you're gonna watch this highlight reel and you're gonna be like, wow, it's a lot of different stuff this guy plays. That's what he's really known for. Simsalou kind of does what he wants, and he's really, really comfortable to take any of these characters that may not be super popular or widespread and really make them have their own little place in the meta. If something is good or looks good on paper, he's going to find a way to put it in practice and make it be effective.
And it makes it so much easier, I would say, for Arrays here, because that's actually one of the biggest things. We always talk about damage as a duo, which I think is very important. But Arrays might not have the same flexibility as Simsalou, but because Simsalou is so flexible, you kind of take, I want to say, like, you're the red flag that's being waved. Everyone's looking at you. Arrays just gets to kind of chill and do his own job, do his own thing. He gets to flow. And between the two of them, either one can pop off at any moment, and that's a scary thought when you have that in a team.
They fell very nicely into what you're, well, that's a gift right there, folks, to fit. I don't think he ended up finishing out the split with Blazing Stars. And maybe that was why. I mean, forget what I was saying. That man just unfortunately comes around the corner and gets blindsided by a Mack truck.
He's like trying to shoot this rocket. Gotta get rid of him.
Mr. President, get down!
That was a treat.
That's
I
a
think
quality
that was my
highlight
favorite
right there.
replay I've seen in a while.
Oh man. No one
Now
saw
I gotta think of a good
since,
point to go to.
Since that day, he has not been seen.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame him.
For good reason.
That was definitely a play to be made. Either way, they're coming through. And again, they're missing Ovim this time around, but depending on their damage, their DPS players, it might not matter. We do have Simsalou standing by with Evan, so let's go ahead and jump down to them and see how they're feeling, even though they're lacking their front line.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Penta, and over on the other side, you said they deserve the recognition they've gotten for being a good team here. One of the reasons is the last time I was interviewing this guy, he was actually getting an MVP trophy for a LAN at this exact same building. Simsalou, how you feeling, man? How's it going? No cookies here for the team yet. You said the mom will make them for the squad if you guys win today.
Hopefully she makes them. We got a first win. That's the first, step. First step to getting the cookie dough ready. So like if we qualify, she's prepping it. Then if we don't make it, she's gonna throw it in a trash bag.
Oh man! All right,
Like a lot of pressure.
I didn't know your mom was ruthless like that. What is the impetus for coming here? You guys have PPL player on all of your titles. Is that the goal? Is that what you're fighting for? Is it just for this LAN? What's the bigger picture as to what's motivating all of you?
Well, we definitely want to get into the PPL. Currently, how our team is doing, I think we are better than a few PPL teams overall. But a lot of it depends on how we do on LAN. Because we can also like really, really hardcore choke here, where online we have promising results. But online really doesn't matter at the end of the day if we don't show it here.
You've had a little bit of a redemption story. You were, for better or for worse, blackballed essentially from the Paladins community for a few things. You've apologized for them. You've turned the corner, and now you're here at LAN with a chance to face some of those teams that had a little bit to do with that later on this week. Personally for you, what is this about, and what is your journey in the MSI going to mean to you?
Well, one of the biggest things is that finally coming back to the scene and also having the opportunity to play against those teams that, has a little bit of feud with each other. But overall, I think hopefully most of the things that I did in the past has, been redeemed today. And if not, then we're going to show it with our gameplay.
All right, man. Well, good luck. It should be a fun set. Congratulations on being here in the first place. And we're about to get this match started, the last one of the day. So let's send it back to the desk and get ready.
It's going to come down to which team, I guess, performs better. You have 2 DPS subs on one side, a frontline sub on the other. Based on Smutny, well, I guess all of the front lines, but I'm going to specifically isolate Smutny last game. One front line can truly make the difference for your team.
Absolutely.
And keep things pumping. But, I mean, this is going to be, I think, big if Nemesis find a win. Most people expect this to just be a 3-0 for Penta.
And I think a lot of that comes down to how good was each of the team's respective practices with these substitute players. Ovum is a big conversation point. I mean, he has a glowing resume for sure, and has really made a reputation for himself as a point frontliner. And for him to, he might be the only point frontliner in history that's not in the Premier League to have done something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember a single other point frontliner that I've really, really harped and honed in on and built a reputation and almost like this picture, this image of than Ovum, right? He has been such a force on so many different teams that he's played for that not having him is going to hurt Penta, undoubtedly. So it's all about what does this practice with Exentra look like? How much have they been able to get him up to speed? And will he be slowing them down at all? Because if he's not the same player that Ovum is in it, and I'm really putting my chips that he's probably not, because that instinct of when to get aggressive and move off of the objective and to get aggressive, it's something that only a couple of point frontliners have, and he might be the only one with it in the minor league scene. So if Exentra can fill those shoes, Penta's going to be in a great spot. If not, how they adjust will define them in this set.
And I think that's, again, very telling. I'm also interested to see, again, what Simzulu had kind of highlighted, how they perform on LAN, which I think is the big thing. They were like, obviously 11-1 online, it's not easy to accomplish. I think they had, 2 sets against Sour Team that go all 5 games, but those are the only 2 that they really kind of feel pressured on. But then you have to look at the fact that they haven't been on LAN.
Yeah.
I think Simzulu, out of all of them, is the only one. I think Bolka has as well, maybe Crunchy. Yeah, Crunchy did because he played with NIP. They've come here, they've played on LAN, but nowhere near as consistently as some of the PPL teams that they're kind of being compared with right now, the teams that they maybe have their eyes on because they're expecting to make it through this play-in.
Definitely.
But how they play today versus Nemesis, who also have, I want to say, a smattering of LAN experience, is going to be very important.
And like you said, this Nemesis squad, formerly known as Heating Up, they come from the most competitive, console region combination. So that is something that is going to make them better on the whole, right? Absolutely obliterating everyone like Elevate does. Unfortunately, they didn't have their full roster, but that type of competition throughout the year does not prepare you for these international events against the better teams in the world. So Nemesis, if nothing else, will have had the better preparatory regular season competition to get them ready for this set here against Penta as we head into the draft, picks and bans for Jaguar Falls for game number 1.
And this is the first time, I think, today Jaguar Falls has made it through a ban phase. I can go ahead and look through all of it. Yeah, it's just been constantly banned against console teams because of how strong it is. Frog Isle's been banned a lot today as well. But Nemesis are finally going to be able to get to go here. I believe it's their map pick as well. So this is their comfort zone. This is the place that, again, a lot of teams have been banning because it is the console comfort.
Simslow's writing something cheeky down on this piece of paper, and we all wait with bated breath to see what it is.
When he holds it to the camera.
There's a lot of things that console does love to run, and frankly, Cassie is one thing that I do want to talk about today. Not here at this event, unfortunately, because of some last-minute circumstances. But Emmett Payne, the only one in the console scene that really plays a lot of that Cassie, and the only one that really has the impact on that character. Cassie has been going for so many of these teams for so free, very early in these drafts, late in these drafts, whenever they want it. And Cassie, I feel like, is just too impactful to let through to a PC team and not have a single word in about it.
I don't know if we're ever going to learn. We have too many good lights in this studio.
Too whitewashed.
It got whitewashed out. Either way, here we come through. Nemesis, Penta, Pip, Cassie, Makoa, Atlas, all banned away, which leaves open the con. Actually, I want to say this is the most typical pick and ban I've seen. Maybe you swap Torvald and Khan, but that's honestly player preference more than anything.
Sure. And what do you want to pair with that? Penta are a squad that I think could undoubtedly, and you're not having to play to your frontline strengths necessarily. So this is going to be the perfect kind of warm-up game for a substitute frontliner if you're the Penta lineup, right? You're really happy with the way this is going because you get to lean completely and totally on your damage dealers. Erase and Simsalo, whatever they manage to pick, will undoubtedly be very impactful here. But Jaguar Falls, talk a lot about why it's banned today, because it's against console teams. They love to run these Vivians, these Victors, these heavy hit scan rifle men and women, and this is a perfect map to do so. And
Vivian's kind of double-edged. Not only is she just good on this map or something that they like to run on this map, but also good against Torvald. Pops bubbles pretty well when she gets Wrecker online. Is just very, very good at dealing with that in terms of champions.
You are not welcome here!
I can't think of a time that she's really bad. There's not any time where just constant damage is going to be bad for your team.
Certainly not. And with the Leon and Nara round out, it's not the ideal front line, I think, to pair with a Genos.
Do they do it?
But it's something that they have to rock with for the time being. Talus could be. Nope. No. We're gonna switch back to the Grok here. Nothing locked in just yet. But both these healer and auxiliary healer, damage dealer, support hybrid characters. And it will be the flip-flop back onto Talus.
So he's been, played once today? And
I think one at a time, yeah.
Did not do too well there for Flashpoint. They're going to swap out that Moldamba for a Ying coming through. Again, that's probably going to be...
King a big
I don't want to call him Jeff the Raccoon still, even though it's been a whole split of him being Jeff the Raccoon. That's going to be there for the support. Going to be pretty solid. Bomb King locked in at the end for Penta. Do you have either side that you're kind of leaning towards?
Oh, I like this Penta lineup, man. It's hard for me to vote against Bomb King on Jaguar Falls with a Torvald behind it.
And a Genos.
Yeah.
Luminary, Field Study, Bomb King on his best map.
Yeah.
And it's Simsaloo.
That's simple.
Mic drop. That's all they need to do for Penta.
That's that simple for me.
It seems that simple. Up here, let's see how the casters are feeling. I believe Dave and Kresnik are going to be standing by to take us through this one.
That's right. Ask and ye shall receive. Kresnik is back in the caster booth with me for this one. Penta Nemesis, set 4 of the day. Should be a good one, but I'm scared if I'm Nemesis right about that. Torvald, Genos,
look at that
and Bomb
composition.
King on the opposite side. It'll be
terrifying.
a close one.
I mean, I think it's going to come down to the Talus putting on pressure and then getting away for free. He has to slow them down enough for maybe them to focus down the Inara with the Genos heal, but that's a tall order.
It is. We saw, I guess that was Stone Keep was Talus earlier today, and it was, I don't know, I don't want to say it fell flat on its face, but it definitely didn't have the impact they were looking for.
It didn't have the console Talus impact, but he didn't feed with it, He got away. He definitely knew his cooldowns. It's clear that it's a power pick on the console, but when it came down to the pressure from the PML players, Talus, if any player's going to know how to play against Talus.
Right. Yeah.
Simply from old VP, right?
That's right.
He was one of the pioneers for the original Talus when it came out. So if anyone's not going to be caught off guard, it'd be him.
Oh, look, you even got a little picture and everything.
I did last time.
We got
Dave.
you
Thanks
all
for
set
paying
up. No,
attention.
I didn't even realize it. You got everything all set up here. I love it. Kresnik officially here in the booth. All right, I mean, if you're on the side of Nemesis, well, that's the worst way it could start off. Barrick already falling. Cool Matt as well goes down. I was going to say, how do you play this? What do you look for if you're the Talus?
And you look to actually be in the way, but he wasn't in the way. The Barrick was already weak from some poke down the mid from the Leon. Simsy just got in basically completely for free, and now this zone pressure is going to come up. They don't have a lot of room on the left, but they're going to disengage for sure. Or they'll just keep going in.
God.
Just walking all over them. Those 1,000, 1,200 damage bombs are just going to keep raining down. Simsy popping back. Make sure that Talus can't get out. I told him he knows what to do. Give it a second. There
it is. It comes through. He sets the trap. He detonates the charge. He finds himself a double kill. In the meantime, Penta, they're fighting from the point. Point number 1 goes over their way, and this is steamrolling in the wrong direction. Quick look at the slash lines if we can. I'm not sure if Nemesis... Yeah, no. Whoosh had 1 kill before falling just before Simsaloo, already 4-0-2. This is a composition built around him. Give him the field study bubble, give him the luminary. Just let him go.
Yeah, once Wreckers come online, it might be a little harder, but I mean, early game, if Penta win this 4-0, it's over. That ult was massive. Damage boosted by the field study. He can't shout, he can't shield thanks to the nullify. Just damage still coming in from Simsy. I don't think, at least this round, that he can be stopped.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, and that's maybe what Nemesis hold on to, is as we move forward, the Wreckers start to come online, we can maybe burst these bubbles just a little bit faster. But Simsaloo on a Bomb King without even field study or Genos is a force to be reckoned with. This time around, I should say. I mean, he's playing aggressively. Look how confident he's playing. Poppy Bomb into the back line. Double kill. Make it 3. Make it 4. Simpsy almost 5, but a quadra kill on the Bomb King.
That was just, I mean, that's just the power
look at the damage.
Look at
Oh
that.
my God.
25,000 more damage than the closest person on his team. 9-0. Only 1 kill across the board, and it was on a Raze poking down mid. I mean, Simsalu's making a statement right now.
That is a hefty statement as well, and he's still talking. They still have stuff to figure out as a team. I mean, this is a hard question, but I'll levy it anyway. Is there anything Nemesis could have done to deal with Simsalu just now, or is that just the nature of the composition you're playing against? Early game, Simsalu is going to blow you up. I mean, is that on Destronite, Cool Matt, Calamity?
I think
Cool Matt
and Calamity had to be a little more tight, because I think you can burn him down once records are online if you maybe get a commander's grab into like an overcharge. You might be able to burn him down, but
Right.
it's going to be so difficult. He can just corner peek and deny the visibility you have. Looks like Calamity and Destronite are going to actually be trying to slow him down on the side, protecting their barrack this time, which is good, but they can't stop him. They're just slowing him down, and now Penta's getting point time. And I don't know if Nemesis can find the hole, but Simpsy finds theirs, flies into the Vivian, maybe gets the speed bubble, does not matter. Khan manages to damage a unit, but he's just getting nullified, can't live through it. Getting staggered even now, too. They're staggering even in this mid-fight. Gonna finish him off, and Penta's gonna look forward for the zone.
Simsalu, Immortal, you see it pop up on the screen. I was gonna say right at the start there that, you know, things were a little better for Nemesis. They didn't lose Whoosh literally right off the bat, but on the opposite side, a pick goes in on a Cool Matt, and that's all she wrote. 4 minutes into this one, Penta, 5 streaks burning away. You gotta find an answer for Simsalu right now, and you gotta do it very quickly. But no, another double. Look how confident. Same thing as last time. He's basically solo damage dealing in the backline. A quadra last time, a triple this time, maybe 4 around this corner. Penta are not going to be stopped today.
You don't give European teams Torvalds. I think it's a rule, at least not on PC, and it is a rule that Nemesis are learning very quickly. Penta, I mean, they've been playing it in the PML. They're very confident, and now coming in on LAN with any online disadvantages gone, Simsalu back in a comfort zone. You know, he was MVP, I believe, in his first PPL LAN. Clearly, still feels about the same level of comfort here.
That was almost a 100 IQ play. He was sticking the clone and poppy bombed it back into Cool Matt and tried to get the kill. That's good through time and space. Collects a little bit of damage onto Destronite. Simsalu and Raze are going to combine for the 2 kills, though, on the back end. Payload's getting very close here. Nemesis, they can't barely step out of their base. It's looking like it's going to go through. It's looking like Penta are going to find win number 1.
Oh, absolutely. The Nullify confirms it, too. Penta rolling it in 4-0. One of the most dominant performances I've almost ever seen in Paladins.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's an overstatement. I think that is about as convincing of a performance as you can get from Simsalu that time around. And, I mean, there's not that much that needs to be said. You give him Torvald Bubble, you give him the Genos mark, and then you give him one of his favorite champions. And that's a recipe for success.
You give a fantastic player one of the best hyper carries, and you give him every single buff imaginable. If only if there was a Tyra would it be better, but...
Well, I haven't seen anything quite like it. Kresnik hasn't either. Desk. Oh, my.
Yeah, that's a way to sum that
That's
up.
a monka
Oh
ass,
my.
chat.
It's a monka. That is not a... I don't know how to describe it. I don't know where to start. Bomb King, I guess?
Yeah,
just
man.
Hook, line,
He's a
sinker,
good
that's
boy.
all it was.
He's a good boy. When you back him up, like the caster boy said, with all those buffs, with the Luminary, with the Field Study, that's not only extra damage, but it's move speed. I mean, he is flying around this map, just obliterating people before anyone has a chance to do it. Did you see the disparity on the damage chart? I mean, it was just like, why did anyone else bother showing up?
So, why even bother playing? I want to see where did he end up. 64,000. I see 23,3 is the next highest. So 41,000? No, there's 41,000 there for a raise. So not quite able to blow anyone out of the water. Or not everyone out of the water. 7-1 and 7 there for a raise. The hot 15-0-3.
Yeah, man.
Mic drop once again. That's all you need.
Well, with a play that hot, you know we need some big analysis
Deep
and some
analysis.
big tools to allow me to do this. So we're going to go ahead and take another look back at this first team fight where Simsalu kind of ripped things apart, and I'm going to do my best to try and help you guys break this one down so we can roll this one through at about half speed for the time being. So you can see right over here, Z's, is where Simsalu and his trusty Torvald are going to look to get involved here. Everybody else they're kind of spread out appropriately. I mean, this is not bad positioning or anything by by Nemesis. This is just good play. They call out this barrack right here. He is the first recipient. He will be the first blood there by K. Krutzy and by Simsalo. That's where things start to go a little bit awry. Talus gets exploded up here. That's not great, and because this fight is not going bad or not going well, everybody starts to group up down here, and that just makes it all the more easy for Simsalou to punish this. Now, really, really good counter. We actually broke this down nicely in that play like a pro. He can throw right over the top of Khan's shield, not only damaging Khan's HP pool, but his shield as well. Simsalou, I don't think he actually manages to get the kill onto Khan here. And you can see the respawn starting to come through. Simsalou makes a new rotation over to here up on the high stairs because he wants to make sure that he's keeping pressure up here on the Vivian. These immobile targets, very easy for him to make sure that he takes them down. And a really nice thing here, let's stop this one to set this up because this is the most fun part about this whole play. So you can see the little Talus rune right here, right is where that's where things start to go awry because Simsalou sets up like 95 bombs on this particular spot right here. We'll go through and roll this one a little bit more forward. You can see Talus on the bottom side of your map starting to dive in here, wanting to get involved. I'm sure this is called out to him, but you can even see he kind of looks back at his rune. You can see all the bombs lined up ready for him. As soon as Talus blinks back there, he just gets obliterated right off the side of the map. Very, very nicely done by Simsalou. Patiently played, but that's all you can do. That's all she wrote. Torvald Bomb King, one of his best maps, one of the most potent combinations that a hypercarry can absolutely have backing him up. Simsalou could not be stopped. 15-0, 20,000 damage above the next closest person in that game.
I would argue very simply that was devastating.
Yeah.
And I tweeted it out, and I think it bears worth saying. Nemesis have family. Like, chill a little bit. Let these guys live. Like, give them a little bit of a break.
here. He's here to prove something, man.
And so far, he started out that way.
No retreat, no surrender, no prisoners.
At the end of round one, you get a quadra kill and your 25,000 damage above the next highest player. And then at the end of the game, the closest player that in damage was still 23,000 behind you. And it was on your team, let alone, like, you're sitting pretty in that kind of circumstance.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to let go. Part of that to me is Bomb King's never been huge in the console meta, but Torvald has. I mean, letting Torvald Bomb King go on Jaguar Falls, that's just not good drafting. I don't think that's a lesson that needs to be taught at this point. Nemesis need to be a little bit tighter in these drafts against Penta. Penta, all power to them. They're an absolutely incredible team. Both teams have substitutes. There's been a lot of teams with substitutes today. That's not an excuse here in this match. Brightmarsh tells a lot of the same stories as Jaguar Falls Gormizer, so again, be very wary of these Torvald plus something on Brightmarsh. And it could be the Pip this time around. It was banned last time. I don't see Penta, getting the Bomb King Torvald combination again, though.
It's one of those things, actually, going back to the interview with Nemesis, where when you're talking about the fact that, we've done our homework on Penta, and, there's a reason they are highly regarded the way they are. I think it does have to very simply come down to the fact that no matter what amount of homework you do, Simsalou's still going to be a beast. Like, everyone on this team is still going to be insane. They still have their flexibility, and I think it's very, very fitting that Torvald is the first thing they ban out there, because I think that just, much like Makoa, every now and then he slips through the picks and bans, and someone has to remind you why you ban him.
That might have been that.
In fact, speaking of Makoa,
that's a pretty crushing defeat for sure. But Nemesis need to be able to bounce back here. Atlas still open, Ash still open. A lot of these off tanks, weird bans today for sure. Makoa will be the first pick selection though. And Penta are off to a great start. Nemesis, I want to see what this fight looks like from this team when they don't get kind of out-drafted like they did in game number one.
And admittedly, when you just don't get bonked. Like, that's the thing, is I'm wondering if they get a draft that's even, equal. Can they hold up to what Simsalou just did? Can they meet that playstyle? Because, like you said, that's the perfect warm-up game for Penta. And now Simsalou is on fire. He's in a good mood. He's going to be happy. He knows he can do it. You don't have to go Bomb King here. You can go for the Pip since it's open again. You can change whatever you want about your draft. Everyone's going to be feeling comfortable.
Cassie Damba for Penta. And again, Cassie is a big conversation piece. At least for me, it's again, comes back to Emmett Payne is really the only guy I remember being impactful on Cassie for console, and it's such a flexible and potent pick for PC. You know, we talked so much about Eevee. Eevee is not what's kind of been abusing console players today. It's really been the Cassie that I think has stolen the show. Eevee's been a non-factor today.
Yeah, honestly, looking back at Elevate, that was one of the things, you know, without Emmett Payne, who was, as far as I can remember, the only console player who picked up Cassie the entire PCL.
You trespass and are unwanted, stranger.
It's definitely unfortunate for him to not be there with them. And she's been running rampant. Same thing can be said for Maeve. She's been picked up by both sides and doesn't look like she's slowing down anytime soon.
So much mobility. Sneak up on people, especially this Victor. She was the real cornerstone that anchored, I think, that victory for Hype Unit in their last set. Once Poison start using that mobility, getting behind people, forcing these guys to turn around and just second guess themselves about where they need to be worried about this pressure coming from. Victor Tyra will round out this composition, and you kind of chuckle at that.
Well, I was thinking, because they were hovering the Strix, and I was like, they're about to give them the Stigma special, try to run the sniper on Bright Marsh, come through, make it work, see what they can do with it. But, I mean, is there anything that stands out? Like, does Penta win this draft heavily, or is Nemesis keeping up?
Not super heavily. I think with Tyra, there is a good chance for Nemesis to play to their strengths. I want to see this hunting party, and I want to see this Atlas combine it and get some big frags onto these flankers.
Well, hey, it's map 2. It's time for Bright Marsh. Let's see what Nemesis has to offer this time around, because the last one was very convincingly Penta. Let's go down to Dave.
Well, you don't have the Torvald Genos Bomb King this time, which is that's an immediate
it's already
win.
looking
I
better.
think.
I'll be honest.
It's
It is already looking better.
I mean, you know, Simsy is such a potent player. You put him in a position like that, he's going to capitalize, likely on the Maeve this time around. But instead of the Torvald Genos, now you have a Makoa on the opposite side, and that's been an interesting thing to sort of look at today. Is, you know, console has leaned into the double sort of damage dealer ban, whether it's Eevee, whether it's Bomb King, whatever it may be. We've seen a lot more Makoa today than we have seen at all over the past few weeks. And that's just sort of the meta of these games, I think. I mean, has he been a big difference maker in your eyes in a lot of these games?
I really don't think it's been as influential. I think it's been like another off tank, you know, in these games, but because it's either on the team that's pretty dominant outside of the hype units, you know, it's been on the team that's dominant, or it's been on a team that's getting, you know, that's maybe the half shell was interesting, but it still lost in the set.
That's right. That was I still think back to that 5 stack on the point composition they were running. That was unbelievable. First kill of the game goes the way of the Ancient Turtle. Simsaloo already with the flank. Daggers are good. Execute is good. 3 kills already for Penta. Make it 4. Make it 5 even. They were on the point, Nemesis, 21%, but Penta with a clean sweep. One member on the back end. That's going to be a Barrack. But
he's going to get cleaned up too.
They'll clean that up shortly and regain point control.
This is a fantastic stagger from Penta too. Really good patience from Simsy. I mean, better to do that. They have a ton of time now. They're going to have to be forced into a 4v5. Maybe the Atlas speed can get them in, but he's already used his rewind. I don't know if he'll be able to make any room now. Plus, he used the shield, too. Looks like this is already going to be in Penta's corner. They have really dominant position.
Definitely looks like it with 93% left. Good long-range axe from Jeff the Raccoon netted them a kill on the side of Nemesis, but not enough to displant Penta from the point there. Cruncy controlling this front line. You know, like you said, I definitely agree with the point that you made where it's like he's been in the game, but either on the team that's getting, you know, I don't want to say demolished, but the team that's losing or the team that's winning heavily. So maybe you haven't seen the greatest showing of how Makoa can really change the game, but Cruncy's playing very comfortably, found the first blood in this game, a couple kills on the back end. His payload's already moving forward. 2 minutes left, already about halfway there.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really good comp for Makoa. I mean, hard to say that there's like a bad comp for Makoa. There are counter comps, but both DPSs on Nemesis really can't handle getting hooked. You know, Victor, what's the most Victor can do if he gets hooked? Panic, sprint in a circle with cardio and scramble? That's like it. You know, there's really not many answers for Victor getting hooked. They're going to get burned immediately. So having that against this composition is really strong. Not as good into the Atlas. But, I mean, getting him to burn his rewind is still super value for your 10-second cooldown for his 20-second cooldown.
That's what they'll look for. Dread Serpent down onto the low ground. Simsaloo staying alive. Look at that mobility, utilizing it perfectly. You don't see anybody on this sort of balcony really often at all. Simsaloo's making great use of it here. The rest of his team is doing all the work. He just throws out the Midnight. He hangs back. Penta push it in 2-0. Nemesis, they can't even step down from the high ground.
That's the importance of a flanker. Like, as a flanker, you don't always need to go in. He went in, he got out, stayed there. They knew he was there. They had to worry. It put on pressure just by his existence.
Right.
And then, Arrays just absolutely wiped the floor on the front line. That just shows, like, you don't really need to necessarily be going in. Just being in an area, controlling an area, is enough to make a difference in some of these fights.
And those are the two guys we highlighted going into the game. Of course, Simsalou, the star of the show last time around, 15-0. Erase, I guess you could call it second fiddle, but he was 7-1 in that game on Jaguar Falls. And I wouldn't say keeping up damage-wise, but presence-wise in that last game. Erase was right in there doing the same here in this game, and the Mave has been great for Simsalou as well. Become a popular champion amongst a lot of teams. 2 kills to the name of Nemesis right now. Only Erase and Currency with the death on their side. I need to change something here on this point fight because nothing seems to be working out for
And it
Nemesis.
doesn't look like they're changing much of anything. Jeff and Coolmat still looking away. Simsalou finding the opening, poking them down, catches Jeff. There's no heals now on Coolmat, and he's just gonna fall out. Simsalou can just corner peek, can run away. The damage reduction on the Mave build makes it so hard. I know they're sponsored by 20th Century Fox, but I don't think they would produce a massacre.
Oh, you did it.
I did it.
We were talking about it. You found the perfect time to throw it in there, and you're right. They're sponsored by 20th Century Fox, and this is some film they're shooting right here. Penta looking to push it in 3-0. Hopefully, if they're going to capture this point as well. And Mave is so dependent. If you're not playing Street Justice, hitting all these daggers. It's such a live by the dagger, die by the dagger sort of champion. Simsalou's been hitting them all. 1 kill for Destronite could maybe open the door. It's a 4v5.
It doesn't matter, though. They exiled the Inara on the point, so the firebomb did no damage. The disengage from Arrays actually saves it. They couldn't contest. They capture while basically completely out of the game.
My.
But they still managed to get the cleanup kills. Simsi jumped off. He knew the stagger had to stop. And Nemesis actually look in a strong zoning position, not necessarily a score position, for the first time this set.
And this is where, if you're Nemesis, you need to just start trading some kills because,
preferably the other way.
Right, preferably the other direction. Simsalou playing with his food a little bit. Beautiful Dread Serpent goes on to so many members of Nemesis, and all the damage is there. 1, 2, 3 frontline damage dealers all getting in on the action. That was not a very resilient zone Nemesis put into place there. Penta are looking to push it in, make it another 4-0.
Well, Coolmat had nobody in front of him.
True.
He was holding on the left. He had no tank. He was there alone. A Mave diving a Victor, if the Mave hits all their shots with Cap Burglar, Victor just loses.
Just the way it goes, and you saw it, Simsalou just dancing around the Victor. Crossfire from the high ground, doesn't find anything. Whoosh opens up this team fight. A little bit of a kill, holding this back line, poking through the window. Izzy Rays, things are going to slow down. It's a frontliner for a damage dealer, though. They're fighting without Makoa. Simsalou needs to stay alive. The dash is good, keeps him up, but Nemesis, they're still attacking.
The damage reduction from Mave playing such a crucial part there. Jet dashing, getting probably 20% DR just into the Damba sightline to get saved. Mave, I don't believe a common pick in the PCL, so something they might not be used to. I'm sure they've scrimmed PML teams, but not a team as good as this. Penta just looking so strong. A stun going on to Jeff as he was fighting into the spawn. That was insane. He actually manages to get out of it too, so his heals are still in here, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Penta closing out this map as well.
And that is the most back and forth fight we've maybe seen in this set so far, but the trades were all in favor of the team with the 5 on their chest. Penta win game number 2, back-to-back 4-0s for them. They're looking convincing. A lot of us, you maybe included, we thought that Penta, and still maybe think Penta or maybe even the favorite to win the play-in bracket. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of action. So many great minor league teams have already made it through. Penta just 1 game away, but this is them showing really what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Game 2, much the same as game 1. Gore, Nick, how you feeling?
Well,
Pretty
good.
Actually, thanks for asking.
Pretty zooming in terms of this set. Like, it's one of those things. There's 2 ways to end the day, and I think they're on one side of the spectrum. I guess there's a nice, really good contested 5-game set, or a really, really fast slaughter. Like, you don't want one of those 4-game sets where it's like awkwardly in the middle. So at least they're giving us one of them.
Yeah, we're getting one end of the spectrum here for sure. And like the boys mentioned, I think it's an important note is that Penta is likely one of the favorites to win this play-in bracket overall. And it's not going to be an easy road for them there on out, but it's still something to think about nonetheless. Arrays will step up and take the mantle of top damage away from Simsalou this time around. Exactly the same credits per minute, though. It's a very important stat to look at for these damage dealers.
A lot of damage being done, a lot of control being done. There was even one fight where Simsy just kind of ducked out. He recognized that he wasn't necessarily needed. He just midnighted from that balcony that's kind of off the side of the map, kind of over the swamp. And because of that, it netted them a push. He goes 12-2 and 5. And then you have 6-3 and 8. You have 6-2 and 11. Just everyone going positive or even there for Bolka. There was just never a point where it felt like Nemesis have control.
Yeah, Arrays has a big game for himself. K. Cruncy gets power picks. A lot of half shell run today by these Makoa players. There's a lot of, big damage things like the hunting party. We've seen a lot of debilitate Sky today, for crying out loud. A lot of what Leviathan Makoa does is sort of W key at you and just bully you with a big HP pool. If you factor in still being able to fight under half shell, you can almost factor it in as effective health that you have added in that fight. And it's just a way better, I think, avenue to play around things like the hunting party and just high DPS backliners who are tough to dive.
Well, now it's going to be up to Nemesis to kind of try and turn things around. It's again, something that we've mentioned, I think, in the PPL a lot, being down 3-0. We've seen a lot of teams in that position try to fight back for a reverse sweep. Not quite as hard to win 3 maps in a row here, but the way the first 2 went, I think Nemesis have a tall order to be able to turn it around. You can kind of see it on their faces as well. I think they're very aware of the situation right now. And, man, I can't remember the KDAs, but I'd say collectively 10 kills overall in the last 2 games, somewhere in that area. So definitely somewhere where they need to start trading out kills, picking up a little bit more momentum, and just controlling an objective.
Yeah, there's been a big, I think, discrepancy in what we saw in last set versus this set. But I want to make it about, how incredible this Penta squad is and how much they respect they get even amongst the PPL players and the PPL teams. These guys scrim up sometimes as well, and I'm sure they grab the occasional game, if not set, off of some serious caliber teams. They are mentioning that's where they have their sights set. They want to be in the PPL. That's where they want to end up. And that's what this is going to take. You're going to have these types of performances. If you want to be taken seriously at that next level, you have to put away these first-round opponents in minimal time with minimal effort like they are doing here. Penta is going to have to bread their butter later on in this play-in bracket and against some of those tougher PPL opponents later on.
So I'm going to take you back to a conversation I was having with Kresnik, I guess while we were on the desk.
Take me back, Gore.
I was talking to him and I was like, I was discussing why I'm so tired of Ice Mines.
Okay.
And it's not because I dislike Ice Mines in the map. It's because scenarios like this. We saw this all the time in the PGS. Saw this all the time in the PCS. You would see a first seed versus 4th seed or something like that, where the gap was very obvious between the 2 teams from the first 2 maps. And Ice Mines is the great equalizer. Ice Mines is the one where you expect it to be a 3-3, and it's honestly, I'd argue, even more devastating if you lose this as a 4-0. But that's Nemesis's goal here. This is the map to try and make it an even playing field in a room where you are not going to.
Yeah. Well, it might result in some garbage time, as Ice Mines can artificially drag out games, given how long it is. But if anything, I would say because it's played that role for so long that teams are actually starting to get good at this map and understand the nuances and how to attack this final stretch, home stretch, whether it be, for better or worse. Conversions, I think, have gone up overall in competitive play on Ice Mines. Penta do forego the Genos. They grab themselves a Pipcon early. Cassie Torvald, Makoa Atlas, are the bans. And Nemesis just kind of giggling their way through this draft. They go with the first pick, Genos. Not unheard of, but uncommon, I think, at this stage of the meta.
And it's something that we've seen a little bit of from the PPL teams. Like, some teams will grab that, but they're going to go for the Koga. This is actually feeling...
Oh, they're going for it.
I'm having flashbacks. I can't remember who it was that they played Genos Koga. It was a PPL team. They did it once on Ice Mines.
That was
I think it was Splice. And they won out of it.
Ricotta.
It was the weirdest game they played, but it was phenomenal.
Well, something's happening here with Nemesis. They might be switching up the strategy completely. And normally Genos is actually, this is one of the maps where he's completely foregone on. Sustain and survivability and fighting in these tight corridors is something that's very important on Ice Mines. Still no damage dealer directly drafted by Penta. Nemesis grabbed themselves a Barrack and a Ruckus to complement Genos Koga.
Ghost Feather reporting.
And it won't be the Tyra. They're going to go for the double front line, double back line, but it's as close to a 4 DPS as you could get without drafting the actual damage dealers. Ruckus and Barrack pair very nicely with the Genos and do a lot of damage on the side.
Well, we mentioned her earlier when she was picked up as someone who's really, really good at dealing with shields. And, well, there's a Ruckus, there's a Barrack. There's 2 members that are going to be very, very susceptible to, I believe, Vivian damage here. And, of course, I can't not highlight it. Pip is going to be there for Simsaloo. He's going to be very happy on a map that Pip does really well on. But do you think Strix and Koga have what it takes?
I think Nemesis just need to turn on the afterburner, push immediately past the Sonara and Khan if they can, and just try and run over the backline for Penta. Just leave it all out on the field.
Well, it's go big or go home time here for Nemesis, and I think they're trying to go big. I'm interested to see how this is going to handle. Let's see what the casters think about it.
Well, I thought picks 1 through 4 weren't all that surprising, but Strix on Ice Mines, we thought Bright Marsh was a weird place for a sniper, but Ice Mines, that could be the weirdest.
Yeah, it might actually be. I mean, maybe like some sweet unauthorized use strat where you like shoot it into the windows and it bounces back and forth.
Yeah, right. I guess
like
in
a
theory.
trap, like it stays there forever. Set up a
little bomb
tripwire
trap. That's right. You just set it up and they can't walk through. It is going to come down to Ice Mines though. Penta just 1 win away from moving on. Back-to-back 4-0s. I would wager sub 10-minute games for them up to this point, playing convincingly. They talked about not overlooking anyone, and they certainly haven't done that here. And Simsaloo back on his Pip. I mean, this is a very good composition from Penta.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think they sealed the deal here. If I have to be honest
I
with
mean,
you.
I think Penta looks so dominant, and I think this draft is still really, really good for them. I mean, they took a comfort pick from the console team. I actually don't hate Koga in general right now. I think he's kind of underplayed, underexplored. But the Strix, I really think that's going to be hard to make work. But, I mean, I'm all willing for Nemesis to prove me wrong.
And they're going to need to do it if they want to hang out and hang around. Nick called for a little aggression from Nemesis, and instead it's Penta who are moving far forward. Strix taking up the high ground. Simsaloo, though, he's wrapping around the corner. He has 2 members of Nemesis right now.
And he's
they're
been
not
walled
able
off
to
by his own
return down
team.
any damage. They trap him off, but it doesn't matter. In the back line, Raze has 2 now on this Vivian. Strix is going to have to jump off the map. No, he's going to take the hard way out. Penta cleans that one up. 27% already. Nemesis, they have to break another chokehold and try to get on the point.
Yeah, Ice Mines is one of the best zoning maps. It's so hard to get through. Unless they don't pay attention to short, there's basically no way for them to get in. Honestly, the draft by Penta is so smart, because with the Barrack Ruckus pick, the Vivian, once Wreckers are online, even before Wreckers are online, there's really no way for the tanks to go in and make space. Strix ain't getting in. There's no way. I mean, like, other than stealthing by now, which I have a feeling is not happening. Yeah, thanks to the sensor drone, he's going to get walked on. Actually, might live thanks to the crack shot bonus, but we'll have to see. Kill traded out. Penta still have a pretty solid position here, but it's still so hard for them to get in. What's Koga's going to, like, triple dash in? And then have no energy. You know, there's no way for them to get in.
You got to throw everything at the wall in that case. They're not able to do it. Penta grab point number 1. They do get a cheeky little kill on the Khan on the back line there. But now marching down the long way. I mean, if you're Nemesis, you choose Ice Mines, I think, you may be sacrificing and admitting that you're going to lose these mid-fights. You're just hoping to defend 3 times in a row and get to that final 7-point. But the way Penta are playing right now, all the kills are coming up red. I don't know if Nemesis has the footing to stick around on this icy map.
Yeah, one of the bigger issues here is that I think Nemesis's comp actually falls off even harder once the Wrecker's online. So they're picking a map that potentially goes to late game really fast, and they have the worst late game comp. I think they needed to draft maybe tanks that don't have to deal with Wrecker, but I mean, Penta took the Inara, they took the Khan, some of the best ones with it, thanks to Khan's shout. Evil Mojo actually coming in from Simsaloo, comboed with the seismic crash. There is no getting away from that. That bell is going to be ringing over and over as the cart gets pushed in by Penta.
Ding, 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 the dinner bell rings.
The Binnerdell.
The Binnerdell rings. Penta, some well-timed ultimates, well-executed team fight, grab point number 2. They use the Evil Mojo, the seismic crash, both of those relatively quickly charging. So, or I should say Evil Mojo is at least seismic crash a little bit longer. Nemesis do have an initial ultimate advantage, but we're down to it now where if Penta cap and push, this one is all but done and dusted.
Yeah, I mean, and the ultimates from Nemesis really aren't game-changing ones, right? I mean, Flashbang, Hexafire.
What are you talking about? Pentakill on Flashbang.
Pentakill, Flashbang?
That's right.
If that happens, I'll leave. I'll just leave. You'll finish. Yeah, you'll finish the cast alone. I will retire, and hopefully they don't hear that and are not conspiring to remove me from don't community currently.
Well, for all of our sake, let's hope that's not the case. Simsaloo actually taking the back seat a little bit in this one. Raze having his, I mean, I don't even want to call it a coming out moment. That's not very fair to him. He's been here the entire set. That's a Very deep Strix. I assume that's an overpower. It was
That
the
was an
overpower. I was
overpower,
very
yes.
I didn't hear the voice line. Then I saw Strix. I had no idea what's happening. That's a nice Dread Serpent, though. The collapse is going to come in from Penta. 1, 2, they go down. Destronite makes 3. Whoosh has to rocket boots out, but yet again,
Going to be
Penta
staggered
fighting
too.
from the point.
Yeah, I mean, look at how the console's positioning. Like, Nemesis is positioning so tight to each other, and think about the ultimates Penta have, right? They're just, like, huge AoE CC, Evil Mojo, Dread Serpent, Seismic Crash. If you're grouping against that early game before you have Brazil, that's just a one fight in itself. Hexafire coming in, it's not really going to... Oh, actually almost catches a
nice
raise.
heal.
Potion from Pip, that's one of the bigger things about him. He puts on great damage, great CC, but he can also supplement the heals from his team and keep you alive through things that you wouldn't have lived through otherwise. And, of course, I mean, Moxie's okay, too.
Yeah, who says Pip's not a healer? Simsalu's doing that right now. Maybe not a solo healer. My teammates think it is, but it doesn't always work out that way. I'm sure Simsalu could play solo healer Pip. I'm sure that would work out just fine for him.
I have a feeling he has at some
I'm
point.
sure
I mean,
it's
we saw
happened.
Mega Potion earlier
That's
today.
right. No, you're right. You're right. There was a sort of a split healer composition. Either way, 3 points is where Penta stand. Little dancing coming out from Simsy. They realize they might be on the downhill trend. That's an Evil Mojo that goes just wide. Maybe expected them to back up just a little bit into it, but he's going to stay aggressive. Dome Shield up onto the high ground is going to buy some time for the boys of Nemesis. And Calamity actually finds a kill onto Simsalu, so that stalls things out just a little bit. But Accentra finds kill number 2.
I don't know if they have enough pressure to get onto this Vivian. I mean, like, Penta have the disadvantage right now, but unless a race gets caught out here, yeah, they're going to be able to back up, regroup. As long as they don't get wiped and zoned, they have a refight. I mean, the problem with Ice Mines, if you're like talking about it from a design perspective, is that when you die, it's very easy to zone. You could just go all the way to their spawn and die like 20, 30 seconds.
Right.
And time, at this point in the game, it's all about time. You're binding their time down. You're focusing on getting touches. Like, you don't want to go into overtime because then the defending team has an advantage. So if you buy that much time for free just from the map design, I mean, that's why Ice Mines, I think, is flawed to a lot of people.
Well, Nemesis has a minute left of time before it runs out, making an early exit from MSI. Maybe Cool Matt going down at the hands of Simsalu could be it. Seismic Crash is ready. That's a nice wall. Blocks off so much of the damage. Cruncy on the low ground as well gets a kill. And the rest of Nemesis are pushed back in their base. All 3 members, they cannot step out right now. Erase, firing on all cylinders. The Dread Serpent could just do the final zone.
I don't think they can even
that's
touch.
what they're gonna do.
Koga manages to get through, but it does not matter when that much damage is on the board. Penta clean 12-0, 3-0 win to close out the day today.
I mean, hats off to Nemesis. They came through, they qualified, they got here, they came to LAN, put their best foot forward, but at the end of the day, the team you have to run into is one that many would consider the favorite to win the play-in bracket, and that's Penta.
Yeah.
One of the most convincing game 1s I've maybe ever seen was Simsalu with the Torvald Genos. Never forget that Jaguar Falls
Nemesis
game.
Won't.
Nemesis will not. But yeah, hats off to them. They came and they performed. Just a hard first game to go up against.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad bracket luck, but I mean, they still, like you said, they still made it here. They had the most contended season too.
That's
so
true.
I mean, still good on them for being here.
They qualify in the last week. They make it to LAN, but fall to Penta, who grabbed their first win here at the MSI and will play again tomorrow. But that's going to do it for our final set of day number 1 here at the MSI. Let's send it back to the desk to break this one down.
I'll say I think Penta right now are probably just happy they get their first set out of the way. Any land jitters that might be there just shaken off completely.
Yeah.
They get to come in tomorrow feeling clean slate. I will say Elevate I think impressed me a lot early on, but Cyclone has been the most impressive console team that I've seen today because this game was just well, it was just another walk in the park.
Well, they're going to need more of that sauce tomorrow, I think, if they want to stack up against Penta. This squad definitely looking scary, looking prepared, looking boot-camped, all of the above. They do have the sub in Exentra, but he's on the point tank. His stats have been, inarguable today. He's been phenomenal. Against better competition, though, I think when this team is pressed, that's when you start to see what somebody's really made of.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big thing, like you had mentioned, boot camping, a lot of preparation coming into today. And I have a significant doubt that they were doing a lot of it for today specifically. This is a team that not only has everyone who's looked at the bracket expected to go forward, but the team themselves have expected to go forward. They are expecting to be first or second coming out of this. And, when Simsalu, I guess Exentra is truly getting the kills here. But when Simsy is the one making plays like this, being able to set things up, you can kind of see why.
Yeah, Pip is going to be big. We always talk about, Simsalu when we do talk about Pip. Is a character not made popular by him, but when we start to kind of see this character poke his head out, Simsalu is always in the conversation. He's played this character for a long, long time. He's got damn good at it. Pip has been almost a secret weapon for Tenor and NIP, and starting to catch fire for a lot of other teams. So if Penta can come into this tournament with that ace in the hole, firmly in hand, that's nothing but a boon from them. Again, not a lot of Eevee today. I got to say, I was very surprised about that. Yeah. She was a lot of the conversation that the console players were worried about being kind of, taken advantage of by, but seldom was she banned or picked.
And I think, actually the most she was banned was probably by Cyclone, banning her a lot, but never came up, never picked up, never really showing her head. Actually, I believe the only person I saw play her was Skeppy. So it's almost reverse of what you would have expected coming into today. But, Penta come out. They close this down 3-0. We can kind of look at how the bracket is going to be going for them from here on out. All the console teams have, as of this point, been eliminated. Sour Team and Sanguine starts off tomorrow. Hype Unit Penta comes up after that. And then the finals will determine the seeding of the top two. Those first two games will determine who goes forward, and then that last finals will determine where they go after that, how they will fare, and who they have to face. It's going to be pretty much a coin flip. Do you go against NIP or do you go against Na'Vi? Either one's going to be tough.
Yeah, both of those teams are extremely terrifying, and it's going to be a long road for anyone coming out of the play-in bracket. But I'm very excited for the Sanguine Sour Team matchup. I think, those were both 3-0s, but Sanguine definitely feels like they handled business, I think, a little bit more confidently.
It was a lot more, and as I said, Sanguine, Sour Team are going to be first. Hype Unit will be going up against what we just saw was a very dominant Penta. And speaking of a dominant Penta, we actually have them standing by. But before we get to them for the interview, I just want to ask, do you have any final thoughts, any closing thoughts for today?
Thank you to the console guys for coming out and giving it their all. I think, when you look at Cyclone almost taking that set, that was phenomenal work, and they should all hang their heads high.
I think that's the note to leave it on. Cyclone played phenomenally today. Penta also played phenomenally today. So let's go ahead and jump down to them, see what they have to say.
All right, guys, congrats. MSI, game number 1 in the books. One of the most convincing, no, not one of the most convincing set of the day. 3 wins, all of them under 10 minutes, so hats off to you guys for that. Despite it being 3-0, all under 10 minutes, are there any takeaways that you guys can learn from today? Anything that you want to change going into tomorrow? The drafts look good, the play looked good. Anything that you maybe look to change?
We're not really looking to change anything. Sure. I think today's draft was good enough. Obviously, as it is right now, since our opponents needed to be shown our top secret strats. Right. We're just going to keep them to the side for as long as possible. But I think even if they were a console, they had free subs. They put up a fair fight, and they weren't really drafting too horribly. They were doing a little bit jikers, but, console meta is very different from PC meta, so you have to respect that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, SimC. Yesterday, you told me that you were a 3-trick, and I noticed that you played exactly 3 champions. You did also only play 3 games, but is that it? Is that the 3-trick that you were trying to tell me about?
There's the one that we're keeping hidden right now.
So you're a 4-trick?
Well, technically 3.5, because my Bonk King is really bad. My Drogue is really bad. Right. My Maeve and Pip is my Pip and my Maeve is the 2 most comfortable picks for me right now. Yeah. But the 3rd one, just wait for that.
We'll wait to see for sure. Convincing victory nonetheless today. But let's look forward to tomorrow. All the PML teams make it through. You guys complete the sweep today. Is there anything you look forward to? You're going up against Hype Unit tomorrow. Do you look forward to anything in that matchup? Anything that jumps out to you?
We actually done prep work before, even before the Cyclone and the Hype Unit set. We were expecting the Hype Unit to have a convincing win, but they actually had a fairly close set. So I noticed a fair bit we can actually use from those games. They had a lot of kind of weak movements, they displayed. But generally, I'm kind of feeling good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
How about you, Reyes? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It was a quick 3-0, and I think maybe the same thing is going to happen tomorrow. We'll see, but we're confident. We're definitely confident.
Yeah, I guess. A lot of the community puts you guys as the favorites to win the play-in bracket. Do you agree with that mentality? Do you guys see yourselves as maybe the favorite here in these play-ins?
We can always be a favorite, but I think the most important thing to look at is not look at what other thinks, but what we think ourselves. As it is right now, we are not number 1. We still have a bracket to play through, and we still have games to play. So I don't want to get too overconfident, but I also want to ego people at the same time. So I'm pretty confident that we are going to be the one to win everything.
Well, you definitely did a little bit of that today. Congratulations to you guys. 3-0, very convincing way to start the MSI. We'll see you guys tomorrow here back against Hype Unit. We'll see everyone online back tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m., same place, mixer.com/Paladins game. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.